I thought she needed time, so I ended our relationship. It's not something I ever imagined I'd have to do, especially not with her. For 4 years, we built a life together that felt real, solid, and full of promise. We weren't just in love, we were partners, best friends, and each other's biggest cheerleaders. Our families even got along beautifully, which always felt like such a blessing. We talked about marriage often, as naturally as discussing what to have for dinner or where to go on vacation. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. We made plans for our future, dreamed about buying a home, raising kids, and growing old together. She'd light up whenever the topic came up, especially when we talked about children. I thought we were on the same page about everything. I hinted for months that I'd propose soon, and she seemed thrilled. She even showed me pictures of her favorite engagement ring styles, laughing and saying, "Just in case you need ideas." I took every word she said to heart. I wanted this to be perfect for her. When the time came, I planned everything down to the smallest detail. I booked a weekend getaway at a gorgeous resort, timed perfectly around our anniversary. I imagined the moment over and over in my mind, her face lighting up, her joyful tears, the memory we'd share forever. I pictured us calling our families after, hearing their happiness through the phone, maybe even seeing a tear or two from her father, who adored me. But nothing could have prepared me for what actually happened. When I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me, her reaction wasn't the joy I'd expected. Instead, she looked stunned, almost scared. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. What she said was, "I need more time, a few more months." My heart sank. I was speechless. It felt like the most crushing and disappointing moment of my life. She kept apologizing, saying she needed to be in the right mental space before committing to something so big. She promised we were technically engaged and that she'd officially accept soon. But her words felt hollow to me. I spent the rest of the trip feeling empty, sad, and embarrassed. This was supposed to be a magical, unforgettable milestone in our relationship, but instead, it left me questioning everything. Did I rush this? Was she having doubts all along? Why didn't she talk to me? When we got back home, she continued apologizing through tears. She tried to explain herself, but I was too hurt to truly listen. She kept saying she loved me, that she didn't mean to hurt me, but those words couldn't erase the memory of her hesitation. The pain was so raw that I couldn't bring myself to talk to anyone about it, not my friends, not even my parents. The only people I confided in were my siblings. My brother tried to reassure me, suggesting she might have just gotten cold feet. "Give her time," he said. "She probably just needs to process it." But my sister had a different take. She thought it was a red flag, a sign that my girlfriend might be avoiding commitment or even hiding something from me. She told me, "If she loved you the way you love her, she wouldn't hesitate. She wouldn't need time." Her words stuck with me. They played on repeat in my mind every time I saw my girlfriend. It was like I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. Every smile, every kiss, every "I love you" felt tainted by that moment of hesitation. The more I thought about it, the more my sister's perspective started to make sense, and the harder it became to cope. I started overanalyzing everything: her late nights at work, her sudden need for space, the way she avoided talking about the proposal. A few days later, I reached a breaking point. When my girlfriend came home, I told her it was over. I asked her to pack her things and leave. I didn't give her any warning or explanation. I couldn't. I was too overwhelmed, too betrayed. She was shocked. She begged me to talk to her, to explain why. She asked me through tears, "Why are you doing this? Don't you love me anymore?" But I couldn't bring myself to say what was in my heart. I couldn't tell her how deeply her hesitation had hurt me, how it had shaken my faith in us. Instead, I simply told her I couldn't trust her anymore. A friend came to pick her up a couple of hours later. As soon as she was gone, I blocked her number. I needed space to think, to heal, to figure out how to move forward. But the truth is, moving forward has been anything but easy. In the weeks that followed, I fell into a routine that felt more like surviving than living. Work kept me busy during the day, but the nights were the hardest. I'd sit in our now empty apartment, haunted by memories of her. Her laughter echoed in the quiet spaces. Her scent lingered on the couch, and her absence felt like a gaping wound I couldn't bandage. I kept asking myself if I'd made the right decision. Was I too harsh? Did I throw away something beautiful over one moment of doubt? Or was this a sign that we were never meant to be? Friends started noticing the change in me. My best friend, Matt, tried to pull me out of my funk with dinners and beers, but I wasn't really present. He asked once if I regretted ending things, and I couldn't give him a straight answer. I didn't know. I still don't. My sister, always blunt, told me I'd done the right thing. "You deserve someone who's sure about you," she said, "not someone who needs time to figure out if you're worth it." Her words were comforting, but they didn't fill the emptiness inside me. And then there were the unexpected reminders, the texts I forgot to delete, the photos I couldn't bring myself to look at, the wedding invitations from mutual friends who still assumed we were together. Every reminder felt like a punch to the gut. One night, I came across a handwritten note she'd left in a drawer. It was from a year ago, back when we were still so sure about each other. She'd written, "You're my everything. I can't wait to spend forever with you." Reading it broke me all over again. I wondered if she felt the same pain I did. Was she crying herself to sleep? Was she questioning her decisions the way I was? Part of me wanted to unblock her number, to call her, to ask her if we'd made a mistake, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. As weeks turned into months, the pain started to dull, but it never fully went away. I tried dating again, but every woman I met reminded me of her. None of them laughed the way she did. None of them looked at me with the same spark in their eyes. It felt like I was chasing a ghost. One day, out of the blue, I received a letter in the mail. It was from her. My hands trembled as I opened it. She wrote about how much she missed me, how sorry she was for what happened. She admitted that her hesitation during the proposal wasn't because she didn't love me, it was because she was scared. Scared of failing as a wife. Scared of losing herself in the process of becoming us. She said she'd been working on herself, trying to understand her fears and where they came from. She wanted me to know that I wasn't the problem, that I'd always been everything she dreamed of in a partner. Her words brought tears to my eyes, but they didn't change the reality of our situation. I'd spent so much time healing, learning to let go, that reopening that door felt impossible. I wrote her back, thanking her for her honesty, but telling her we couldn't go back to what we were. Too much had changed. Too much had been broken. Sometimes I wonder what might have happened if I'd waited, if I'd given her the time she needed. Would we be planning our wedding now? Or would I still be questioning her commitment, wondering if her hesitation was a warning sign I'd ignored? The truth is, I'll never know. All I can do is move forward, even if the road feels uncertain. Update. Not much has changed, but I wanted to answer some of the questions I keep getting. This will likely be my final update. I've been replaying everything in my mind, trying to make sense of what happened. I loved her deeply. I shared my whole life with her, my dreams, my fears, my struggles. We talked about everything, where we'd live, how we'd handle finances, what kind of family we wanted to build together. She even told me what kind of engagement ring she liked. which made her hesitation all the more confusing. When you love someone, you imagine a future together, one that feels so certain, so clear, that it's almost like you're already living it in your mind. For years, that's what I did. I built this picture of us. I imagined her walking down the aisle, the sound of our laughter filling the home we'd create, the life we'd build together. It wasn't just a dream, it was my reality, or so I thought. Leading up to the proposal, I made sure to drop hints that something special was coming. I planned the entire trip around our anniversary, wanting it to be unforgettable. Every little detail was chosen with her in mind, the location, the timing, even the way I worded the speech I'd rehearsed in my head 100 times. I thought she'd be thrilled. I imagined her seeing the ring, her face lighting up with joy, the way she'd throw her arms around me and say, "Yes." But instead, she declined. It felt like time stopped. Her words didn't register at first. I kept expecting her to laugh, to say she was joking, or to suddenly change her mind and say yes. But the look on her face was unmistakable. It was serious. She wasn't ready. She had never given me any indication that she wasn't ready for marriage. Her reasons didn't add up, and the more I thought about it, the more confused I became. I hadn't set a timeline for when we'd get married. I just wanted to take the next step. So why did she need more time? Why couldn't she say yes to the promise of a future we had spent years talking about? I tried to talk to her about it, but every conversation left me feeling more heartbroken. The more I pressed, the less her answers made sense. I started to notice things I'd overlooked before. She sometimes worked late, which I'd never questioned. But now, in hindsight, I wondered if I'd been blind to signs that something was wrong. Little things that once seemed insignificant now felt like pieces of a puzzle I couldn't solve. The rejection cut deeper than I could have imagined. It wasn't just about the proposal, it was the realization that maybe I didn't know her as well as I thought. How could she do this after everything we'd been through? After all the love and trust we'd built? It wasn't just the rejection that hurt. It was the sense that I didn't truly know her anymore. In the end, I felt I had no choice but to ask her to leave. The pain she caused was so deep that I couldn't even feel anger. I just needed her out of my life so I could start to heal. Keeping her around, trying to fix things, would have only prolonged the agony. My sister has been a pillar of support through all of this. She's coming over next weekend to help me clear out any lingering reminders of my ex and get rid of the negative energy in my home. I think she's worried about me, and honestly, she has every right to be. There are days when I feel like a shell of myself, like the person I was before all of this is gone. I haven't told anyone the full reason for our breakup because I don't want to damage my ex's reputation. It's not in my nature to badmouth someone I once loved, no matter how much they hurt me. I only told her sister that we had a serious disagreement and that it's over. My parents are heartbroken but supportive, giving me the space I need to process everything. I've been reflecting a lot on trust and relationships. Trust is such a fragile thing. You don't realize how much of it you've given someone until it's broken. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust anyone again. That thought scares me because I want to believe in love, in the kind of partnership I thought we had. But right now, all I feel is doubt. Every time I think about the proposal, the look on her face, her hesitation, it feels like a dagger to my heart. I planned everything so carefully, put so much love and thought into that moment, and it still wasn't enough. The worst part is, I keep replaying it in my mind, hoping for a different outcome, knowing it'll never come. Healing has been a slow, painful process. I've been trying to focus on rebuilding myself, on finding peace in my own company. Some days are better than others. There are moments when I feel a glimmer of hope, a sense that maybe, just maybe, I'll come out of this stronger. But there are also moments when the pain feels unbearable, when I wonder if I'll ever truly move on. Through it all, my family has been my rock. Without them, I don't know how I'd get through this. They've reminded me that it's okay to grieve, to feel the loss of what I thought was my future. They've also reminded me that I deserve someone who loves me without hesitation, someone who won't need time to decide if they want to spend their life with me. My sister, in particular, has been relentless in her support. She's helped me see that this isn't just a loss, it's an opportunity. An opportunity to rediscover who I am, to focus on my own happiness, and to rebuild a life that doesn't depend on someone else's approval or commitment. I've started therapy, which has been both challenging and eye-opening. Talking to someone who's not emotionally involved has given me a new perspective on my relationship. I've realized that I often ignored red flags because I was so focused on the future I wanted with her. I thought love was enough to fix any problem, but now I see that it takes more than love. It takes mutual respect, honesty, and a shared commitment to growth. I've also been trying to reconnect with hobbies I let go of during our relationship. I've started running again, something I used to love but hadn't made time for in years. It's become a form of therapy for me, a way to clear my mind and remind myself that I'm capable of moving forward, one step at a time. To anyone going through something similar, I just want to say, you're not alone. It's okay to feel broken, to question everything, to take time to heal. It's not easy, but I believe we'll find our way through this. This chapter of my life may be over, but I'm hopeful that the next one will be brighter. For now, I'm focusing on healing, on finding myself again. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm learning to take things one day at a time. And if there's one thing I've learned through all of this, it's that love, true love, isn't something you have to beg for or convince someone to give. It's freely given, without hesitation, without conditions. And that's the kind of love I want to hold out for. To those who've reached out with kind words or shared their own stories, thank you. Your support has meant more to me than I can put into words. This isn't the end of my story, it's just the beginning of a new chapter. And while I don't know what lies ahead, I'm determined to face it with an open heart and the belief that better days are coming.